Hello and welcome to the Let It Ride podcast, coming at you to preview week 7 in the NFL, which kicks off in just a couple of hours with the Pittsburgh Steelers visiting the Cincinnati Bengals. Not going to have a play for the Thursday game this week. The last couple of weeks we've given out plays on Thursday, and they have not been good to us. We gave out that Brian Robinson play a couple of Thursdays ago. That bit us. We gave out the teaser of the week last week. We included the Eagles. It was one of the only losses we had last week, by the way. So the teaser of the week last week did lose thanks to the Eagles not taking care of business on Thursday Night Football. But my picks overall, 4-1 on the top 5 bets. Also gave out a winner on a prop bet, Spencer Rattler over passing yards. So last week, like I said, 4-1. Got a winner with the Seahawks against the Jags. The Seahawks actually closed that game as favorites. So tune in to the podcast early in the week. Get the best of the number. If you took that play when I gave it out on Thursday, you got a much better number on the Seahawks than you did later in the week. But either way, that was a winner. Gave out a winner on that Bears Commanders adjusted line. Gave out the Bears plus 10.5 and the over 43.5. That parlay paid out at minus 110. That cashes with ease. Didn't need the extra points, by the way. The over and the Bears both cashed without the extra points. Also said that we like the Bears in that game. So just giving out winners all over the place last week. Gave out a winner on the 49ers Bucks over 47.5. Gave out a winner on the Raiders minus 4.5 against the Titans, and that game marked the end of the coaching tenure for Brian Callahan. He ends his illustrious coaching career 4-18 against the spread. So props to you, Brian Callahan. We really enjoyed betting against you during your terrible NFL career, but we're going to have to find another moneymaker, bad NFL head coach to bet against moving forward. But 4-1 on my straight up picks last week. Like I said, gave out the winner on Spencer Rattler over. The Saints, however, not able to take care of business last week, so the Saints plus 3.5 was the lone loser I gave out on my top 5 picks. But a great week overall. So you add it all up, 5-2 if you got the teaser of the week as a loss. So 5-2 after treading water with a couple of 500 weeks, really coming through last week with a huge profit. So we'll look to continue that hot streak into week 7. And week 7, this is when you can really kind of lock in what these rankings mean. So sometimes early in the season, you could look at, this team through 3 weeks is the best team at X, Y, and Z. And it's like, okay, well, who have they faced? At this point, with a little bit of a bigger sample size, we're a third of the way through the season. When you look at a team and say, oh, they're the worst ranked rush defense in the league, that actually means something because they've had 6 opponents. So I really think you can dive into the rankings now and really take something away from them. And these teams are really starting to show you who they are. But we are going to start this week with the Dolphins taking on the Browns. The Browns, a 2.5-point favorite at home. The over-under sitting at 40. And on paper, these are 2 bad football teams. Both teams sitting at 1-5. Both teams bottom 6 in yards per game. Both teams bottom 6 in rushing yards per game. But that is where the similarities end. If you look at yards per play, Cleveland ranks 31st, Miami 17th, so kind of middle of the road. If you look at points per game, Cleveland ranks 32nd, Miami 18th. If you look at third down conversion percentage, Cleveland ranks 31st, Miami ranks 3rd. So this is something in the Mike McDaniel era that the Dolphins have always been really good at. They create these third and short situations. They like to just dink and dunk the ball down the field, create these third and short situations, convert them at a high rate, and just have these long extended drives. This is something that they've been really good at. The Bills do this as well. This is something that good offensive football teams do. And the Miami Dolphins might not be a good offensive football team, but they're slightly better than this terrible offensive Browns team. Dillon Gabriel last week, I think he is out ahead of his skis. This guy is not ready to be a starting quarterback in the NFL. Just 4.3 yards per pass attempt against the Pittsburgh Steelers last week. And everyone thinks that his Pittsburgh Steelers defense is this vaunted defense. They're not that anymore. If you look at some other pretty mediocre quarterbacks that have played this team, Carson Wentz, 350 yards, 7.6 yards per pass attempt against the Steelers. Drake May, who I know is, everybody's darling, taking everybody by storm, 268 yards, 7.2 yards per pass attempt, also ran for 45 yards in that game. Sam Darnold, 295 yards, 8.9 yards per pass attempt. Justin Fields, the much maligned Justin Fields, 218 yards, 9.9 yards per pass attempt. So you've had, some good quarterbacks and some mediocre quarterbacks and some pretty bad quarterbacks, quite frankly, really carving up this Pittsburgh Steelers defense, and Dillon Gabriel was not able to do that. Like I said, just 4.3 yards per pass attempt. I don't think he is a viable NFL starting quarterback. This Browns defense is good, but I think the Dolphins are going to be able to do just enough on offense. The Browns stink. The Dolphins stink. The Dolphins stink slightly less. Give me the Dolphins plus 2.5 in this one. That is going to move us on to the Falcons taking on the 49ers. The 49ers, a 2-point favorite at home. The over-under sitting at 47. And I think the books are really disrespecting the Falcons here. This Falcons team might be one of the best teams in the NFL. They have that outlier loss to the Panthers on the road, 30-0. But outside of that, they've beaten three playoff teams. They've beaten the Vikings, Commanders, and Bills all pretty handily, and they're a Younghoe Koo missed field goal against the Bucks from taking that game to overtime, potentially beating a fourth playoff team. So this is a really good team, I think. The best rushing team in the NFL. Bijan Robinson looks like he might be the early favorite for Offensive Player of the Year. And in the offseason, they fixed the biggest issue that was facing this team. The last 3 years, this has been the worst pass rush in the NFL. They spent 2 first-round picks on pass rushers. They fixed that. Now they're, middle of the pack as far as pass rushing goes. This is a solid defense, a solid offense. On the other side, this 49ers team is totally banged up. Without Joey Bosa, they have no pass rush. They rank 30th in sacks. They've gotten carved up through the air the last 2 weeks. Now you have no Fred Warner, and that's really going to hurt their run defense and their pass defense. I like the Falcons +2 in this game against a decimated 49ers team. Unfortunately for them, they're a team that has Super Bowl aspirations every year. And at this point, with all the injuries they face, I think we're past that point. I really like the Falcons +2 this week. That is going to move us on to the Panthers taking on the Jets. The Jets, a 1.5-point underdog at home. The over-under sitting at 42.5. And I'm going to throw some stats at you from Team A and Team B. Team A is 3-0. Team B is 0-3. Team A has a +36 point differential on the season. Team B has a -50 point differential on the season. Team A allows 6.1 yards per pass attempt. Team B allows 8.0 yards per pass attempt. Team A allows 3.2 yards per rush attempt. Team B allows 4.7 yards per carry. Those two teams sound like, one of the best teams in the NFL versus one of the worst teams in the NFL. Those two teams are the same team. Team A is the Carolina Panthers at home. Team B is the Carolina Panthers on the road. They are a different team away from the friendly confines of Bank of America Stadium. That is where they're playing this week. They're playing on the road against the Jets at MetLife. So I'm taking the Jets +1.5. This line opened with the Jets as favorites and got quickly bet to the Panthers side, but I think the books had it right when they initially opened the line. I think the Jets are going to win this game. Very rarely do we see teams just completely go winless. It's happened twice in the history of the NFL and has not happened since they've gone to a 17-game schedule. The Jets are eventually going to win a game, and I think it's going to be this week. I think they get the run game going. Like I said, this Panthers run defense does not travel well. I think Breece Hall, Justin Fields get it done on the ground. They win this game. Give me the Jets +1.5. This is also going to be the first leg of the teaser of the week. We're going to tease the Jets up to +7.5, and we're going to pair that with the Patriots -1 against the Titans. Brian Callahan fired, so sometimes you get that boost with the new coach. Teams play well for the new coach. It's particularly in that first week. We even saw Jeff Saturday, who is one of the most maligned coaches in NFL history, very unqualified. He was able to get a win in his first week as a coach. So don't want to test the waters with fading the Titans now that Brian Callahan's gone, particularly in this first week. Really want to see it for a week. So don't want to lay the touchdown with the Patriots, but really like the idea of getting them down to -1. Just have to win the game. So the teaser of the week, Jets +7.5, Patriots -1. That is going to move us on to the Eagles taking on the Vikings. The Vikings, a 2-point underdog at home. The over-under sitting at 44. The Vikings coming off of their bye, and I really think that time off and their time in London, they played 2 straight games in London and then had a bye, so they haven't played a game stateside in almost a month. I think it's really made us forget how bad this Vikings QB situation is. You're either going to have a rusty coming off an injury, J.J. McCarthy, or you're going to have washed Carson Wentz. I'm not buying the revenge factor for him against the Eagles. They struggled against the Browns. They lost outright to the Steelers. That international travel really weighs on teams. So yes, I know they're coming off of a bye, but they had that international travel, so I think that kind of offsets the bye. Not only that, the Eagles are coming off of a mini bye after playing on Thursday, so the extra rest I don't think is going to be a factor. This Minnesota run defense is pretty bad. So they are 24th in the league as far as yards per game allowed rushing, 22nd in the league in yards per carry. And you look at who they've played. They've played the 32nd ranked rushing team, the 29th ranked rushing team, the 28th ranked rushing team, the 18th ranked rushing team, and the number 1 ranked rushing team. Bijan Robinson absolutely carved this team up. But this team has given up huge yardage totals to teams that don't run the ball well. Kenneth Gainwell, Quinshon Judkins have had huge games against this run defense. Now you have this Eagles offensive line coming in. Yes, I know this Eagles offense hasn't looked great, but they still have a great offensive line. Saquon Barkley still sitting back there. I think this is a bounce back game for Saquon Barkley. When the props come out, I'm going to be playing some Saquon overs. I think they take advantage of this bad Minnesota run defense. This Eagles defense has been surprisingly bad, particularly against the pass, but I don't think that JJ McCarthy or Carson Wentz are equipped to take advantage of it. So I really like the Eagles -2 this week, and that is going to move us on to the Bucks taking on the Lions. The Lions a 5.5 point favorite at home. The over under sitting at 52.5. And this is a Bucks team that I was high on. I bet them to win the division. I took their season win total over in the season win total draft with Jordan and Kyle. This is a team that I'm very high on, but unfortunately this week they have stacked injuries at the wide receiver position. We saw the Bucks on the other side of this just last year when they played the Eagles uh, without Devonta Smith and without AJ Brown. They were just able to carve up that Eagles team last year and just run away with that game. Now they're facing that situation against a really good Lions team. I'm taking the Lions minus the 5.5. I tweeted out early in the week when this line opened, it was sitting at Lions -4.5, that I thought this line would be on the move, and it has moved. But I have another play on this game, so giving out multiple plays in this game. So, like I said, for Tampa Bay, no Egbuka, no Mike Evans, no Chris Godwin. They're going to have Tez Johnson, and I don't even know who else to throw the football to. So, I don't think that they're going to be able to move the ball. I don't think that they're going to be able to compete in this game. But on the other side of the ball, Tampa Bay defends the run really well, allowing just 3.7 yards per carry. And they face Bijan Robinson, Saquon Barkley, Christian McCaffrey, Breece Hall, Ken Walker. It's not like they've faced bad rushing teams. They faced really good running backs, and they've been able to bottle them up pretty well. And you go to this to the Lions side, and you might say, "Oh, this offense has had huge games against the Bears. They put up 34 points against a really good Browns defense." And that's the game that I want to key on, because the Browns run defense is really good, just like this Bucks run defense is really good. And when you glance at the score, you're like, "Oh, the Lions put up 34 points in that game." So the offense played really well. They were not able to run the ball in that game. Their yardage totals were really low. They scored a touchdown on a punt return. They scored 17 points off of Joe Flacco turnovers. So 2 interceptions and a fumble from Joe Flacco. So 17 points off of turnovers, 7 points off of a punt return. So you're looking at 10 points off of extended drives against that really good Browns defense. I really like the under 52.5 in this game. I'm also going to take some overs on Amon-Ra St. Brown when the props come out. You look at this Bucks defense. I talked about how good they are against the run, but they have given up 142 yards to Kendrick Bourne, 132 yards to Jackson Smith-Njigba, 10 catches for 84 yards to Garrett Wilson. I know this is a running back. We talked about how good they are at defending the run, but Bijan Robinson did have 100 yards receiving out of the backfield in week 1. So this is a Bucks team, very good against the run, not as good against the pass. So 3 plays from this game. Taking the Lions -5.5, the under 52.5, and Amon-Ra St. Brown, whatever his number is set at, we're going to take that when the props come out. But that is going to do it for my picks and the podcast. Just to recap, 3 plays on the Monday night game. Amon-Ra St. Brown over whatever his yardage total is set. I'd imagine it'll be in the mid 80s somewhere. Taking the under 52.5, the Lions -5.5. Taking the Eagles -2. We are taking the Jets +1.5. The Falcons +2 against the 49ers, and the Dolphins +2.5 against the Browns. And the teaser of the week, we're teasing the Jets up to +7.5, teasing the Patriots down to -1. That is going to do it for the picks and my podcast. Thank you for listening, and I will see you guys next week.